Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to tackle the small bathroom in my house, which is basically a toilet and a sink. As you can see, it's super old looking, the wallpaper is like 15 years old, and we have the same wallpaper in the house in different rooms, so that's gotta go. The floor is really old and dirty, so that needs to be covered. After we moved in, the toilet stopped working, so the landlord will change that. I won't, I'm not a plumber, so it's good that it's gonna be changed and we won't have this super old toilet anymore. So the plumber has changed the toilet and the cover that we had for the pipes is gone, and I told him I could make one, it's fine since I'm going to do a makeover. I started with the wallpaper removing. Since it was peeling off already, I wanted to try if it comes off easily or not, and actually there were pieces that came off quite simply, but it was mostly the top layer and the bottom brown layer was still on the wall. So I decided to use the fabric conditioner method when you mix water with fabric conditioner and just using a rag or towel to wet the walls. And it was coming off quite easily, but I still had to use a scraping knife to remove it completely. I could have used a wallpaper stripper, but I didn't have one, and I didn't want to spend money on it, but I will definitely do because almost the whole house is covered with wallpaper, which I want to remove in the future. And it took me 6 hours to get to this point. I still have a little bit left, which I'm going to finish tomorrow because this was exhausting. So I removed the last pieces and now it's important to sand down the walls to have a smooth finish. I was able to remove the wallpaper and the glue almost completely, but still it's good to sand down the walls. And it looked like this after sanding and cleaning, and honestly, I even prefer it this way than having that old wallpaper. Before painting, I'm filling up the holes with a filler, and after drying, I will sand them down. The skirting board was actually not sealed completely to the walls, so I'm using caulk and let it dry before painting. Okay guys, so I was rushing the whole project because I haven't thought it was gonna take so much time. So definitely use a primer after removing the wallpaper. I skipped it and the paint was covering the wall, but I had to do 3-4 coats to have a nice finish. So don't rush it, use a primer. On most of the walls I'm using white color, and on the left side I will do an accent wall using a different color. Of course that bottom part I'm not going to paint since I'm going to make a cover from plywood. It's not going to be visible. And it looked like this after 3 or 4 coats of paint. I don't even remember. Such a difference. So the corner part is made from wood, so I use the primer also for the pipes. I'll wait for those to dry and then I'll start painting the accent wall. I'm using this beautiful sage color. It's a little bit darker than it looks on camera, and I will probably apply 3 coats. And it looked like this after painting. I'll wait for the walls to dry completely, then tomorrow I'll start working on the flooring. I'm using these self-adhesive floor planks again that I used in my previous makeover. They have some texture, they look really real, they have a good price and rental friendly. You can easily remove the planks when you move out. If you want to use these planks, I suggest you to start with always the hard part, where you need to measure a lot and cut pieces out. In my case, it was a toilet. It was good that I was able to slide the paper under the toilet and mark where I needed to cut, so it definitely made my job easier. I also suggest you to cut always less because the paper can move around on the plank, and you can always cut a little bit more if you have to, but if you have cut too much then you just ruin the plank because it won't fit perfectly. Once you are done with the tough part, just start putting down the other planks. So you can see that there are some gaps between the skirting board and the planks. You can use caulk or sealant, but I just used this sealing tape, which worked just fine. Okay, honestly, the way the floor looks is amazing. So there are these ugly tiles that I wanted to cover, so I decided to use these peel and stick tiles. I know a lot of people are using them, but honestly, it was a big disappointment. They looked really cheap and actually they were kind of see-through. I was still able to see the pattern on the tiles, which I wanted to cover. So in the end, I ended up removing them. I will leave it as it is for now, maybe I will paint the tiles later, but these peel and stick tiles are just not working. So I had to tackle the worst part, the cover, which I had a few meltdowns over. It was not easy to put the pieces together. Before cutting the only plywood I had and making mistakes, I decided to use cardboard. I cut out the pieces and check if they fit. Once I was happy with them, I laid them down on the plywood, marked where I needed to cut, and used a jigsaw to cut the pieces out. I checked if they fit. I still had to cut a little bit off of some pieces, but in general they were fine. Then I sanded down the pieces. I'm using a primer first, then I'm going to apply 3 coats of paint on them. I had to glue these wood supporters so they don't fall apart, also added some on the walls and used some screws to secure them. Then I added the top parts and glued them together. Then I used caulk to make the edges smooth and give a nice finish to them, and after drying I painted over them. And now the finishing touches. I'm adding a nice black framed round mirror to the space, which is gonna look good on the green wall, and it was only £20, which was a great deal. I had this doorknob from an old IKEA chest of drawers, and I spray painted it black to use it as a towel hanger. I know it doesn't cost much to buy a new hanger, but I feel like we should just look around in our home and use things we have. You save money and you also reuse things. I just glued it to the wall, removed the extra glue, and here we go, I have a hanger which works perfectly. And here you go guys, the final result.